Have you ever procrastinated before?
Never.
Me neither.
No.
Me neither.
I'm not a procrastinator.
Me neither.
Please, all the time.
How long did it take us to start the first episode? It was like
a while.
It was a month or so. Yeah. For those of you that may occasionally procrastinate things, even if you don't think you do, you do.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that next. Stay tuned. She's the CEO.
He's the marketing and operations guy.
If it's broken, you need
the business fix. Josh, what's the biggest thing you're putting off right now and why?
Oh, God. I've got to narrow it down to one thing.
What's the biggest thing?
Website. That has been, the process has started. The web people are purely waiting on me for the stuff. Yeah, it's on me. What about you?
So I'm supposed to be doing some writing consulting, like coursework project for people.
How's that going?
I'm supposed to be doing this course that everyone's asked me for a year. I haven't done it.
So this is the big question. And I think we need to speak to this because this is, as business owners, we're only accountable to us and our bank accounts.
Correct.
Sometimes we see the value in stuff. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we're just chasing tomorrow's dollar instead of next week's dollar. I get all that. But as we dive into what we're referring to as the procrastination trap, why do you procrastinate on some stuff? Like that writing project. I didn't know about that. That sounds very cool.
Oh, thanks.
What's the holdup?
The holdup is me.
Why? Let's answer this in a general way for other business owners. This is going to sound like
therapy, Josh. Okay.
It is.
Okay, so
let me be your therapist.
No.
Good idea.
Well, I will say the project itself that I should be working on, it's one of those will drive potentially the business forward, but change some of the market dynamics and some of the things that we've been doing and kind of push in thought leadership. I think part of it is I don't feel like I have anything important that needs to be said. So it's like, why do I need to do that? I can go work on all these other things that will give me an ROI immediately. Mm-hmm. That's going to require me to dig. And come on, it took me like 2.5 years to write a book. That's why I'm in the same, I guess by timeline, I'm in a good spot because I'm only like a third of the way through that.
I believe that's part of the problem.
Yeah, probably.
It's funny because that's a piece that I'd love to talk about is we find ways to justify our procrastination.
Oh, absolutely. With more productivity.
Yes, because it's so funny. When I worked for others, they would just be like, this is the deadline, get it done.
And I can do that.
Right. But when it's accountable to you, you're like, well, I've got other things that I should be doing.
Well, my deadlines don't mean anything to me unless they do.
Right. And it's funny. I mean, deadlines are, to me, they are deadlines when client work is involved. Mm-hmm. If we say Thursday, it better be done Wednesday.
Absolutely.
If not, we failed.
Yes.
If I say I'm going to have the website done by September, it's not September. I didn't say which September.
Correct.
That's the other way we justify it. So to me, like, first off, what do you see as the big impact on that procrastination has on so many businesses? Like we've talked about this. You see under the hood of so many businesses.
Yeah.
What do you see as the biggest impact that it has?
I think oftentimes, to me, the biggest impact that procrastination has is decisions that people have around their people. And it is, I don't want to have that uncomfortable conversation, or I don't want to dig into these numbers and really realize what my gut is telling me that this person is underperforming, but I don't want to reconcile it. So then I have to have a conversation about them. You know what? I'll just go work on this other issue, because to have that uncomfortable conversation or to have to hold someone accountable is difficult for me. So I can go chase all the shiny objects. I'll go organize my office. I'll organize my email. I'll go return that client phone call. I'll do anything that I can to not have to have that sweaty 10-minute conversation that's uncomfortable, that could potentially make my business so much better. But there's a possibility that I may not know what to say someone might yell at me. I may get an emotional reaction that I just don't want to deal with. I don't want to deal with the people part. Like that is to me the number one thing that causes businesses to really have harm around it.
Sure.
There's that. And then there's also I know that I've got a difficult situation financially and I'm just not going to think about it. Those are the two. I mean, the one is the financial one we've talked about already. But to me, we talked about in another episode, the people part is that procrastination space and equation. What about for you?
For me, it's the growth piece. We've talked, you're more the visionary. I'm the operations guy. I am what needs to be done tomorrow. That's my big focus.
Yeah.
When I've got plans laid out for the next 2 years that are awesome that I laid out 2 years ago. Where
are we on execution with those 2 years?
Right, yeah. Right. What I find interesting is initially years and years and years ago, I hated those uncomfortable conversations. Mm-hmm. It took a mindset shift for me with those to really, I now look forward to them. Because I realize that's huge progress that can happen.
Yes.
And when you go in and tiptoe around it, it's not huge progress. If you bust through the door and be like, look, we got stuff to take care of, stuff will get taken care of. And everyone typically gets over it pretty quickly. It is that rip the Band-Aid off thing.
Yeah.
I remember from 10,000 Small Businesses when we went through the piece with the lawyers. Uh-huh. You laugh.
Oh yeah. Legal day was so much fun.
Yeah. Legal day, because they did 2 role-playing exercises.
Yeah.
And mine was distinctly hilarious. They started out with, the first one was disciplining an employee whose performance wasn't up to par.
Okay.
The gentleman that they called up there, his name was Carl, probably the nicest human being on the planet. It was 20 minutes of just the most brutal 20 minutes I have seen in my entire life. He just sat there and he's like, look, you're a great employee. We really love you. But we need just tweak this one number, just a little, but we love you. You're wonderful. And I mean, it was 20 minutes of that. Right.
No.
The look on your face is, I'm sitting in this room, like watching this, and it's like watching someone try and kill a deer with a shovel. They're just beating it. They want to make this quick and painless. They've got a gun in the car. Mm-hmm. Just shoot it. No, they are trying to do, and not a big shovel either, like a small, like a garden trowel.
No, it's not going to work.
Right. Whereas it was on the flip side of that, is they asked around the class, they're like, hey, is anyone want to be the employee that gets fired for the role-playing exercise? And one woman volunteered. She's like, look, I've never been in a situation where I've been fired. She goes, so I'd like to kind of experience this. And the lawyer's like, do we have any volunteers to be the firing manager? And no one volunteered. And she pointed to me. She goes, Josh, would you be willing to do this? And as soon as I said yes, the woman's like, damn. And the lawyer's like, what's going on? And they're like, this is not going to take long.
No.
I kept it simple.
See, I get in trouble within our organization because I generally can exit someone in less than 90 seconds.
Same.
And they're like, we didn't even have time to pack their stuff. I'm like, you should know ahead of time.
Right.
And you should take them on a walk around the building. Why are we doing this?
Right. Parade them around. It's funny, though, because I do see that as so many people are afraid of making someone mad. When with most people, if you approach them and tell them up front, hey, there's an issue. Mm-hmm. We need to fix this. And if you approach it as we need to fix this together.
Yes.
It's not as much of an issue.
It's not. Whether it is a coaching conversation, a client conversation, usually not an exit conversation because you can't fix that. You're just letting them. You're fixing it. You're exiting them to a new opportunity. You are. Brene Brown says to be clear is to be kind. And so I think that's so important. Yes. To be clear is kind. So for those of us who may struggle with how people react at times, I mean, I've gotten much better at it in my life, but initially that was a struggle for me. I remind myself that to be clear. Oh gosh, the first crier. I'm just going to sink now.
We all remember that first crier.
Am I getting fired? You're
yes.
like, oh God.
Right. You're like, right. The other piece to me for that is too, and this comes back to preparation on stuff, if no employee should ever should ever be surprised that they're getting written up or that they're getting fired or that anything like that. If you've procrastinated on that work ahead of time and not told them, hey, your performance sucks, or hey, you're toxic to our company. If you haven't had that conversation with them, they're probably going to get the waterworks. You're probably going to get the waterworks.
Same thing. Yeah. I mean, it's same thing with sales. Like if you're scorecarding, if you know these are the performance metrics you have to hit. I love it when we walk into a performance situation with a salesperson. They're like, I had no idea. I'm like, you send in your numbers every week. You have to know.
You haven't gotten a commission check in 4 months. It seems to be a sign.
I had no idea that I wasn't performing. You didn't tell me. Like, the numbers tell you every week. So,
yikes. So here's the question from my side, because you've done a phenomenal job of growing your business and even moving into other businesses.
Thanks.
How do you take someone like me that I see every minute between here and Friday? Every minute I see all of it. Friday at like 9 o'clock when I'm finally like shutting down for the evening. After that, I haven't a foggiest idea of what the hell is going to happen. So how do you get someone that is not the visionary to like put in the time?
I think part of it is first inviting them to the conversation of what do we want this to look like together? It's the ideal. Like, let's talk about the blue sky part. Let's talk about what the business could look like. And then for those people who are so into operations, we want to grow the business. We want to 10x this business. I know when I say that, and I say it to you, your brain is already going, how many people do I need? What do I need to do? How am I going to get it? Stop.
You saw the numbers?
I did. I saw all of it going. It's first coming into that space of what could it look like? And then we'll slowly reverse engineer. But no one is saying that we have to get there tomorrow. Let's talk about what are the steps that we can take to
you see
get
the
there.
anxiety?
I can, because I've been that person. I am there a lot of times too, which is why, I mean, Dan Sullivan wrote with Dr. Benjamin Hardy, he wrote 10X is easier than 2X, and talking about, even from a mindset piece, when you look at doubling your organization in size, your brain gets lost in operations. Sure. When you look at growing your operation exponentially more than 2X, so like 5X, 10X, 20X, it takes the guardrails off and the blinders off, and you kind of have to think in a bigger space. So what I would say is, as people are starting to invite those more operations heavy people into what do I need to do to move forward? What do I need to do to grow the business? Like, have those bigger conversations, but say, we're not going to talk about how we're going to get there. We want to talk about where we want to be first. So we have to talk. I know for you, that's hard. We're going to talk about operation.
I'm not shaking. I'm not crying.
I know.
Doing okay.
What are those 3 key things that we need to do that for this year that will move us forward the fastest and create more traction for us to move forward? So I know for us this year, we know that if we want to get to the size that we want to be, we need to rebuild our sales and marketing team. Like, we know that is an engine and a vehicle that we are really good at customer care. We're really good at retention. But if we want to truly grow, we've got to figure out how to pour gasoline on. So that's what we're working on this year. It would be really easy for me to say, you know what? I'm going to work on these 4 proposals. I'm going to go to this networking event, and I'm just going to sit here, as opposed to, you mean I got to train salespeople? You want to know what I would rather do? Everything. And I love our salespeople, but still. Anything
and everything other than doing that.
Yeah, but it's really picking those things and knowing that is what's going to drive me forward. Having our website optimized and is a good front door that's accessible and all the things that it needs to be. No, I don't really want to write that copy, but that's probably going to push me forward. If I actually do write the course and the thought leadership that I'm supposed to be doing, that everyone has said would help push my business forward, if I actually did that thing, I would probably we'd be growing our revenue and growing in a different way. So maybe I should actually get that done.
Did we just sign up to be accountability buddies?
I think so. That's pissed me off.
So I have a great story, because we're going to talk about stress.
Yeah.
Like, my dad owned, with 2 other partners, a good sized company many years ago. At his most stressed, There were some procrastination issues, kind of came into time management. The two other partners in his business got him tickets for a time management seminar that was happening downtown Cleveland.
Okay.
And my dad's first reaction was, I don't have time for that.
Yes.
At which point they kind of looked at him like, I think you just answered the question.
Yeah.
We see it. When my task list starts to expand, when my email inbox starts to get more than like 30 deep, the stress, the decision fatigue, all of that starts to come in. Do you see that with business owners in other arenas where they're like, oh, I'm behind, so I'm going to put stuff off?
Always. That's human behavior. That has nothing to do with owning a business. Like, that's everybody on the planet. Oh, I need to get all of this laundry done. I'm going to go make chicken soup. Like, there's all sorts of things that you could do. Oh, I've got this come on. We did this in like school. We were in elementary school, high school, whatever I need to do this giant paper. I'm going to go take a walk. I'm going to go call my friend. I'm going to go do my math homework that's due on Thursday. But I'm not speaking from having children that do this, but this paper that I'm supposed to be doing tomorrow, I'm not going to do.
Because we were both angels. I know I was.
I was a saint.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. I never gave my parents any problems about homework and never saved a report to the last minute.
But I think it's absolutely natural human behavior. Humans naturally procrastinate. I'm sure there's some evolutionary perspective to it too, that at some point in time you thought like, oh, I shouldn't do that. And it probably saved our lives. So it's like ingrained in us to some degree. But at the same time, it can hold us back. So how do you find the fine line? Because there is some truth to, I didn't do this. I procrastinated long enough and I didn't do the thing, and not doing the thing was actually beneficial. Like there is but that's not the norm.
And I was about to say, those I have found to be few and far between.
They're very few and far between.
I mean, we mentioned before we started even recording, like there's certain things on my task list that have just been there so long where I'm like, just delete it.
Yeah.
Just delete it. You've obviously proven that you are not going to do this. Just get it out of there. Yeah.
Well, and stress is okay. Procrastination to some degree is okay because it can also fuel creativity. There are studies around,
Sure.
having a set amount of time versus having a ton of time. Deadlines can be important for helping people as long as you follow them. Not everybody follows a deadline.
So what are some things that you do in order to help prevent the procrastination syndrome from kicking in and you're doing your English report 20 minutes before it's due on the bus on the way to school?
So this is not something that I struggle with a lot as far as getting things done.
I know this.
I know. So if for those of you that may be Colby, I'm an 8824. So high fact finder, high follow through, I get it done. But occasionally when there's like emotional attachment to things, or I don't feel like I want to do it.
Which is in itself the definition of why we procrastinate.
So I keep a project task board in my office. I have it's through Post-it notes. I have think, do, and done is written at the top of.
Interesting.
It's little lanes on my wall. And then I put the Post-it notes in and they're color coded. What's for AUI, what's for clarity, what's finance, what's additional things that are community focused. And those are on the wall and they're large projects that I know I need to either, am I thinking about it? Am I in the process of doing it? Or am I done with it? And having some momentum, for me, visual momentum is important. So I don't always have to be able to cross everything off and complete it by the end of the day. I mean, I'm working on some pretty big projects. Sure. They're not going to happen. I mean, rebuilding a sales team is not going to happen tomorrow. I wish it would, but it's not.
It could. It's just going to be terrible.
It wouldn't be a good sales team. But to have things the right way, having re-optimizing our website, writing course curriculum for a course for business owners, like those things are going to take time, but seeing momentum in the needle and breaking things up into mini projects. So I know that I don't know for you, but there are times for me that things can seem really overwhelming when it's a giant project. So it's like, okay, what are the 20 steps that go into this one thing that is never going to move off my board if I don't break it up. So I break things up and continue to build momentum. I mean, there's science around, being able to cross things off, writing things down, crossing them off, giving yourself the dopamine hit, moving forward.
It's funny, and I like the breaking it down piece because I do that all the time. When we have a big video project, there's a lot of times, there's steps to it. There is the filming, there is the uploading of the footage. There's all these individual steps. So instead of just putting the project, it's so nice. Like one of the pieces where we send a video out to a client and they can put notes in the timeline. That is individual tasks for us. So I can go in and I can work on 5 of let's say there's 15 things that need changed in a video. We can go check each one of those off. What's interesting for me is I can't do the tasks the same way you do. I will set up a task list, but I will have to put time in the calendar where I'm like, it's this and it's this alone. That is it. Yeah. That is the only thing that I am allowed to work on. The phone goes in the other room. I cannot open my email for it unless it's answering emails. I close every browser window I can possibly close. So that way there are minimal things like, what's over here? I make sure that there's minimal of those available to me. And that way there is just an hour of you do this and you do nothing else, because I love what you said about momentum. The fact that if you set aside an hour for something and like, this is it, this is all I'm going to do during this time, you can come out of that with some momentum and you're like, I'm 3/4 of the way done. Almost like Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
Finish him. It just comes out like that.
That's it.
So that is, to me, that is a huge piece of that.
Oh, and you're speaking to really creating a productive work environment for yourself. You're doing a good job of that by eliminating the things and the triggers that are not going to keep you where you need to be. And there are studies about, how long can someone truly work on a project before they get distracted. And what's the right way to put it? The short form is 45 minutes. The long form is 90 minutes. If you are doing something for longer than 90 minutes, you have burnt yourself out. You are not going to hit your rhythm again, and you need to go to sleep.
Yep.
In order to be able to reset to move forward, which is why Zoom meetings should never be you should never have more than 90 minutes in a Zoom meeting. You really shouldn't have more than 30 minutes in a Zoom meeting.
Thank you.
But as you're talking about, what are things that you could be, so when people are like, I'm going to schedule back-to-back Zoom meetings, don't schedule more than 2.5.
Don't schedule them.
I know. Some of us work with people across the country, so we have to. But it's just, how do you make sure? And then get up from your desk, get up from your space, move around. Same thing with doing, you're working on finance. We're reconciling our QuickBooks. That's something that small business owners love to do.
Who?
Exactly. But sometimes you have to do it. So you set your timer and you don't burn yourself out. So it's really important, especially if you're going to be working long days, that you set yourself into those between 45 and 90-minute blocks. That's some of the work that I've done to try to continue to optimize myself and make sure that I don't burn out. Because once I've lost my flow and I've lost my ability to refocus, I'm done. And there's no point.
No. It's funny. I actually it's around here somewhere, my water bottle.
Oh.
I fill it it's a third full right now. I fill it maybe a little bit more than that because I just, out of habit, just reach for my water bottle constantly. Whenever it's empty, I go refill it.
Nice.
That is my little 5-minute get up and take a break. While I'm refilling it, maybe I check the phone for a few seconds, but that's on the way and it stays in the other room. I have had to take, unfortunately, all the toys off my desk too.
I understand.
I would catch myself driving motorcycles around on my desk and that would be distracting.
I get it. Well, and the other part I would say too, that a lot of small business owners, email is our biggest distractor from all of the things.
Huge.
So there are ways that you can set your email up so that it doesn't trigger the issue in your brain of distraction.
Don't open it.
Well, don't open it, or have it set to tasks as opposed to having it set to your emails coming in and you see it filling up. So there's different ways that, there's studies around how to do that. And the argument is now that the way it's set up, whether you use Outlook or whether you use Google, it's set up wrong for your brain.
It is. It's funny. I actually had someone ask me at a previous job. They're like, man, you get so much done in the morning. And I always told them, I said, I won't open my email till at least 9:30. I would open it first thing in the morning to be like, oh, is there a fire I need to put out?
Anything on fire.
Right.
Literally.
And if I see nothing that like someone's waiting on specifically, like that's preventing them from doing their job, I close it and I go do my own thing. And I would wait till that 9:30 time to finally be like, okay, it's time to open up the email. Because the thing that I have found is your task list are things that you need to get done. Your email is things that other people need you to get done.
Yes.
Don't let other people dictate your day, because that is a super simple way to justify that procrastination.
Yes.
Oh, hey, someone sent me, I'll just answer this real quick for him. 4 emails later, 3 hours, you are somewhere at your accountant's office going, what the hell happened? I was supposed to be editing a video.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I would say too is that email, I had a coach once, and I didn't like how she posed it, but she said, Chrissy, why are you afraid of success? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not afraid of success. She said, you are preventing yourself from getting the things done that will move you forward the fastest. Why are you afraid of success? It's like, oh.
That's a tough one.
It sucked.
That's a tough one.
But she was right. And sometimes I think we have to consider that as we're looking at all the different tools and all the different things that can help keep us productive, to not procrastinate ultimately is some of the procrastination because we just are afraid that it's going to push us in a different plane.
That's interesting. That's interesting. And I get that too, especially from my operations perspective.
I would think so.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh man, this really sucks. I'm growing as a person.
I get it.
This is painful, damn it. Because like I said, I see to Friday.
Yeah.
What's past Friday? Hell if I know.
I don't know.
That's way too much for me to think about. I'm trying to map out between here and Friday. And no, that makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. What are some things that you see, though? We talked about, like for me, okay, motorcycles on the desk. That's a procrastination trigger for me because I just sit there and play. Same thing with cars. The internet, email,
news feeds, all the
news feeds. Phone, obviously. Phone, just to me, just put it in the other room.
Hide it.
Yeah. Take the watch off. Turn whatever you have to do is just so it's not distracting. I can ignore my watch because most of the time it's like telling me like, hey, get up, fatty. But with that, what are some procrastination triggers that you see that people need to identify outside of that?
So the one would be, especially as it relates to people, like avoidance of conversation, avoidance of wanting to be with people.
I like that.
So if you are not showing up for something, or you're moving a meeting, or you're avoiding your team member because you don't want to have that conversation, that's a huge one. Like, who am I not showing up for? Who am I not showing up to? Can be telling for you.
Oh, that's a brilliant one. Yeah. Bob's going to be in this meeting, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and pass.
Yeah.
We'll push this to next week.
Yeah. Or, this person said this manager said I need to have this conversation with this other manager. You know what? I don't really want to do that. They're just going to talk about marketing. Like, instead.
Right. It's always, let's talk about marketing, because that's something that we can do or we can just pass off as too expensive.
But we have a team meeting. We have all the things that we need to talk about. We know we really need to talk about this issue and it's going to be uncomfortable. Let's talk about all the other things first. Oh, wait, we didn't have time for that one.
We're out of time. Yeah, no, I would usually schedule those first. If it really, if you think if you think it's going to be uncomfortable, start the meeting with it. The whole thing's going to be uncomfortable because the whole time you're going to be sitting there kind of squirming in your seat anyways.
Not wanting to do that part of the conversation. You just, you get rid of it first. I mean, there's so many different books about it. Whether you're counting down 3, 2, 1, you're doing something with there's something about eating the frog. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff around procrastination.
That one always, I get the analogy.
I do too, but no.
Correct. It weirds me out. Yeah. And I know a few people that like eat the frog and I'm like, no, I'll chicken, steak,
Exactly.
salad. I'll stick with those things. I don't. Yeah, I get.
So,
Yeah.
what are some effective tools or apps that can kind of help business owners overcome procrastination?
It's funny. Like when I saw this question on here, I was like, I like it, but the last thing that I want to do is have an app. Because then I'm looking to something like, oh, it's a reason to look at my phone.
Yeah.
Oh, what's over on Facebook? What's on Instagram? To me, I stick it very basic. I use Google Tasks.
Okay.
Because the nice thing is if I get into something and I need it to go to someone else, I can just assign it to someone else. We use that for the podcast.
Yeah, it's
I'm
great.
like, hey, look, Chrissy, here's
Like, I have tasks.
here's a thing for you to do. Go do the thing. Don't procrastinate. That is a big one for me. The other thing that to me that I typically do that I like is just the fact of just clearing stuff out. I have some artwork in my office. It's not distracting.
Yeah.
That is really, those are the two big things to me. It's just Google Tasks. So it's organized. So I know what to do. The calendar, I guess I would say would be the other one. Just put stuff on the calendar. It's like this hour is this. I have to do this. Now, granted, you have to hold yourself accountable. Maybe I'll like share part of my calendar with you so you can like send me a message. Be like, are you doing the thing now? Because you should be doing the thing now. But that would be those would be the two. What do you feel is a misconception about procrastination? Because a lot of people think that, oh, well, I'm going to do the thing, but they don't do the thing.
I think that sometimes the misconception is that it's a fault in your character. Like there's something wrong with you because you're procrastinating.
Sure.
That is totally normal human behavior. And so it's more about the why.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. It's interesting because when in saying this, this reminded me of something. Chris Williamson said this, and he talked about this from one of the guests on his podcast. There's all sorts of ways that we procrastinate that we think we're not. And he said, he's like, reading a book on how to do the thing is not doing the thing. Thinking of the adoration that you're going to get for doing the thing is not doing the thing. Practicing doing the thing is not doing the thing. Planning out the finances of doing the thing is not doing the thing. What is doing the thing is doing the damn thing.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I've been caught in that loop. Oh, I'm going to read about this. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do the damn thing.
Well, and I think there's the other P words. You've got procrastination, but the other part is priorities. So making sure that what the priorities are, you're focused on, you're moving forward. Because I think too, as business owners, our businesses are usually primary a lot of the time and family comes secondary.
Sure.
And so do not procrastinate the people that you care about.
I agree. Very, very good. I think that to me is a great place to end it on.
Yeah.
I want to thank everyone for showing up. Chrissy, thanks for the conversation. This was a really good one. I'm excited to get this one out there. Make sure that you go to thebusinessfix.com, check out all the social medias, make sure that you follow and subscribe and all those things. We would love to get your comments and feedback. We are excited to address your questions and to talk about those questions. You gave me an idea for the next topic.
Yeah. That sounds scary. What is it?
Meetings. Oh. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to talk about next.
How to have good meetings.
Yeah.
Or not have meetings.
A little bit of both.
Okay,
maybe.
cool.
Maybe, because I think some people could use work on Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
That being said, make sure that you take care of yourself. If you can, take care of someone else too. We will see you very soon.